The craziest thing happened today. I was working on a completely different and much longer video that I wanted to post today, but then I saw the most insane thing, and now I have to do this instead, and the other longer video is coming out next week. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss it. So a year ago, I made a video about overwork, where I talked about the science of long working hours. I showed that it's terrible for employees and can ruin their physical and mental health. Just as an example, people who work more than 55 hours a week have a 30% increased risk of strokes. Long working hours are also associated with more stress, anxiety, depression, sleep disorders, heart problems, and diabetes. To make it worse, overwork also hurts company performance because tired, overworked employees are less productive and make more mistakes. The science is very clear on this, going all the way back to studies during freaking World War I. In that video, I also asked this question. If overwork is so bad, why is it so common? Why do so many bosses and workplaces still demand that employees work 60, 70, or 80 hours a week? I gave a long list of reasons why this happens and why the true believers in the cult of overwork still stick to their guns. And at the end of that segment, I put on my tinfoil hat, literally, and shared one reason that sounds a little more like a conspiracy theory for why companies constantly pressure employees to work crazy long hours. Here's that bit. There's another theory that governments and corporations keep working hours high so that workers will die younger so they can spend less money on pensions and healthcare for old people. And while some would say that the ideal citizen is the one who works hard all their life and then drops dead the day after their retirement, I really doubt if any corporation or country has ever done this as a deliberate design choice. Or at least I really hope not. Yeah, that sounds pretty out there. And I think I was careful to emphasize that I don't know if that is actually going on in workplaces. And then today I discovered this Bloomberg article from 2017 that says that because Americans are dying younger, US corporations are saving billions because they don't have to pay people's pensions for as long. No, I couldn't believe it either. I mean, I could absolutely believe that they thought it. I just couldn't believe that they'd actually come right out and say it. Now, to be very clear, the article does not say that companies are in any way causing employees to die younger on purpose, but it reveals that this perverse financial incentive exists and that companies know about it. They are fully aware of this mechanism. I have a couple of thoughts on this. First of all, what a stupid system to have your employer pay out pensions, because it means you directly reward companies when their employees die younger. Also, you cannot trust US employers with your pension because they will do everything they can to pay you less and themselves more. Various schemes have resulted in what former Wall Street Journal reporter Ellen Schultz calls a deliberate transfer of wealth from workers to corporate executives and shareholders. Pensions got defunded, benefits got slashed, and the money went to bonuses for executives or stock buybacks, affecting millions of American employees. Not only can US companies do this, they can do it with no fear of consequences. In her book, The Retirement Heist, Ellen Schultz writes, with the help of well-connected Washington lobbyists and leading law firms, employers have steadily used legislation and the courts to undermine protections under federal law, making it almost impossible for employees and retirees to challenge their employers' maneuvers. With no punitive damages under pension law, employers face little risk when they unilaterally slash benefits, even when promised in writing, since they can pay their lawyers with pension assets and drag out the cases until the retirees give up or die. And I think it's bad enough to raid the company's pension fund, but it gets worse. There are many things a company could do to help their employees have better mental and physical health and live longer. This ridiculous system means that companies are directly incentivized not to. As a matter of fact, anything they could do to make their employees die younger would lead to huge savings for them. Do you trust them to completely ignore those incentives and still do what's best for their people? Yeah, neither do I. Here in Denmark, we have a very different system. There is a state pension, which everyone gets from a certain age on, and then you can augment that by paying into a private pension, often supplemented by your employer. But crucially, that money is not held by your employer, but by dedicated pension companies that are tightly regulated by relevant laws, so they can't wriggle out of paying you the pension you're owed. That just seems more sane to me. Tell me in a comment which system you would prefer, the Danish centralized one or the American employer-run one. Also, I'm not an expert in the US pension system, so write a comment if I got something wrong or left out something important. Just how bad is the US system? I think the best summary of that comes from an HR representative mentioned in Schultz's book, who wrote to her superiors that, as far as I can determine, there is only one solution to the CEO's demand to save more money. That would be the death of all existing retirees. Yeah. Stay happy.